Do you ever notice? The moment we step into the living room, we often take a deep breath, not to relax, but to brace ourselves for battle. There are toys scattered underfoot, papers flying around like unorganized thoughts, creating a vague feeling that there's always something to be cleaned up. Shoulders tense up, breathing becomes shallow, and family conversations turn into nagging reminders. But imagine a different scene. You open the door, a cool breeze sweeps in. Your eyes glide over just enough empty space, and in an instant, your whole body relaxes. Your child doesn't need to ask, "Mom, where's my stuff?" And you don't have to worry, "Where's the bill?" Because everything has its place. This peace isn't noisy, it's present like the ma in Japanese aesthetic philosophy, the pause between two beats, where kinship naturally blossoms. I am not talking about strictness or deprivation, but about the art of choice, keeping what nourishes life and letting go of what only distracts. Minimalism in the family is not about rejecting convenience. It's about changing how we spend our time, less managing things, more being present with each other, less dealing with clutter, more connecting deeply. When the surfaces of the house are tidy, the mind is clear. When the walkways are open, energy flows. You'll find yourself laughing more easily, your hands and feet more relaxed, and your weekend calendar suddenly has room for a picnic, a board game, or an unhurried conversation. And deep down, you'll feel shibumi, the humble beauty of just enough, not pretentious, not ostentatious, just right, in the right place, at the right time. This is not magic or an illusion. It is the result of applying 4 Japanese-inspired minimalist principles that I will explore with you today. Principles that are gentle, practical, and you can start applying this afternoon in the very room you are sitting in. Let me guide you through the first step. 1. Embrace smaller spaces to expand peace. One morning, as the first light touches the wooden floor, you'll realize what your home is telling you. Where it's warm, because people often sit there, and where it's cold, because no one has touched it in a long time. Start with that everyday moment to conduct a gentle investigation. For 1 to 2 weeks, have each family member keep a notebook or use a simple note-taking app to mark where they were, what they did, and for how long. There's no need to be as serious as a science experiment, just be honest. You'll see that the dining table only truly comes alive on holidays. The second workspace exists as an unfulfilled promise, and the living room is so empty that the clock's ticking echoes like in a museum. This activity map will clearly show you the connection between life and architecture, where there's vitality and where there's only a shell. When the picture becomes clearer, sit down and write out your family's essential needs as if you're wrapping a gift: the number of members, the children's ages, their study habits or need for private space, how often you host guests, and remote work schedules. If you have young children, an integrated play area within the adult site will bring a sense of security. If you have teenagers, even a small private oasis is a way of showing respect. From these notes, you can try sketching out floor plan options using free online tools to get a clearer view. When the living room and dining room are combined, does the flow become smoother? When the kitchen is open, are you willing to minimize everything so that each utensil has a worthy place? The minimalist philosophy prioritizes multifunctional spaces. A folding table can be a breakfast counter, a study desk in the afternoon, and a place for board games on the weekend. When functions are cleverly arranged, the area can shrink while the quality of life is elevated. Many families once thought they needed more rooms to be happy until they tried living in a just right space where 800 to 1,200 square feet can still be enough for a family of 4. If walkways are open, storage is hidden, and going outdoors is encouraged. The secret isn't in the number of square feet, but in our refusal to fall into the filling trap. One more room means more stuff, more cleaning, and more appointments with fatigue. When the space meets the need, the home will no longer swell like a shadow of expectations, but give you back the empty space the Japanese call ma, the pause between 2 beats, where the mind can rest. And then there will be a gentle but profound question. When we are closer, do we love each other more? A small home, if intentionally arranged, will unintentionally remove invisible doors. The kitchen becomes a stage for small talk. The common room is a spontaneous place to play a game, do homework, or simply listen to music together when it rains. This frequent interaction helps everyone learn to look at each other a little longer, listen to one another, and give up a corner. But being close doesn't mean being cramped. Give everyone a place to retreat. A chair by the window, a folding mat behind the bookshelf, or headphones hanging on a hook. These small private spaces are like grains of salt, helping to salvage days when moods are stuck between school schedules and work deadlines. The money saved from a compact space also brings shared experiences. A weekend picnic, a family library card, a leisurely afternoon spent not cleaning but sipping hot cocoa and discussing a movie. However, downsizing a space isn't just an economic calculation. It's also a sentimental farewell to memories. The room where a birthday photo was hung, the cabinet holding the teacup set mom gave you, the hallway where your child's first steps echoed, each corner has its own soul. You'll feel a lump in your throat when you have to decide to sell, donate, or move things. Allow your emotions to show. Spend an evening telling stories about the house. Choose a few mementos to put in a memory box, and take photos of familiar corners before you change them. After that, return to reality. The cost of moving, the renovations to optimize the new space, and maybe even a month of disrupted daily life. The first 3 to 6 months are always a time to adapt. The initial feeling of being cramped will slowly subside as objects find their places. The cleaning schedule becomes streamlined, and new habits form like a slow meditation. When the house gets smaller, the next question will light up like a spark. What is truly necessary in a limited space? Use 3 filters like a sand sieve: function, joy, and beauty. A sharp kitchen knife, a good pot, a warm blanket. These items that serve daily life are worth keeping. But with sentimental items, try touching them and listening to your feelings. Does it still bring you joy? Or is it just apprehension? You can apply 2 simple rules. The 90-90 rule. Have you used it in the past 90 days? Will you need it in the next 90 days? And the multitasking rule. Can one item replace 2 others? Turn the weekend into a cleaning festival. The whole family puts on a favorite playlist. Each person works on an area, and then you all meet in the middle of the house to share the most difficult decision you made. Paper photos can be saved to a hard drive. Old newspapers can become a final craft project. And off-season clothes are rolled up into labeled boxes to be reunited with another day. Every time you close a lid on a box, you open up a more spacious area. Not everyone is born to live in a tiny home, but everyone can learn to live tiny inspired. Instead of a sudden change, you could try renting a small apartment for a short vacation to truly feel the distance of 2 steps and the sound of everyone's breathing in the same room. When you return, you'll know how much closeness you can handle, how much privacy you need, and what you're willing to give up. The conclusion may not be the smaller the house, the better, but rather the house that fits the heart. Just enough so you don't have to call out to each other from down the hallway. Just enough so laughter doesn't have to travel through 3 doors. Just enough so every item has a name and a purpose, and every person has a place and peace. Japanese-style minimalism doesn't teach us to get rid of things to endure lack, but only reminds us that when we subtract the things that don't matter, what's important will become clear like the morning sun, calm and certain on a freshly cleaned wooden floor. 2. Clean regularly, so your home can breathe. The afternoon you open the door, the keys jingling softly, it's a gentle reminder. There are papers scrawled with pencil marks on the kitchen counter, a traffic jam of toy cars between 2 pillows on the living room floor, and a few potted plants on the windowsill no one remembers watering. The suffocating feeling doesn't come suddenly. It arrives like a mist, silently, slowly, clinging to the walls and blurring your vision. People call this visual noise. When objects are too loud, our minds find it hard to be still. And then you realize the reason it's been hard to relax lately isn't just work, but because the house has become a map of unfinished tasks. Clothes that need folding, a toy basket waiting to be sorted, unopened mail, and fluttering notes. We don't change through an impulsive burst, we change through rhythm. View cleaning as a gentle appointment, like brushing your teeth. 15 minutes on Sunday night after dinner, or a 1-bag-a-month challenge to send off items that have finished their purpose. No need for fanfare, just consistency. Parents should lead by example, folding a seldom-worn shirt, tidying their own desk drawer, so that children see minimalism not as a rigid rule, but as a free choice. Place a donate giveaway box in an easy-to-see spot. Every time your hand picks up an item you no longer use, give it a chance to leave with dignity. If you want to make cleaning a joy, use the money from selling old items to have a picnic, buy ice cream, or get movie tickets for the weekend. When the house gets lighter, the shared memories of the family become even more valuable. Each season, try rotating items that easily accumulate: clothes, books, toys. Things that are in excess don't always need to be eliminated. Sometimes they just need to be put away. A carefully labeled off-season box will help the room feel less crowded with items you don't need right now. And to keep life from falling into chaos, name each spot. Pens go in the pen cup, remotes go in the tray, backpacks hang on the second hook. When every object has a home, your house can truly be a home. There's a gentle but profound exercise. Look at the room as if you were a guest. Walk into the kitchen with a curious eye, and you'll see a pile of bills lying on the counter like a habit no one acknowledges. Step into your own living room, and you suddenly realize the coffee table is thirsty for space, covered with magazines, cups, and charging cords. The outsider's perspective will help you notice the corners you usually avoid. The juicer only used 3 times a year, the empty picture frames waiting for photos for several seasons now, or the small figurine no one remembers the name of. When we become so accustomed that we are blind, we suddenly become clear-sighted like a freshly cleaned window pane. At that moment, cleaning is no longer self-judgment, but an act of care, putting away the noise and giving the space back its breath. Technically, you don't need to complicate things. A 4-box cleanup session is enough to start. Keep, donate/sell, discard, and relocate. Set a timer for 20 minutes like a bell in a tea ceremony. Focus intently, then rest for 10 minutes so your body doesn't get tired. The 1 in, 1 out rule is like the reserved gate of a temple. Everything that passes through has to ask itself, do I have a place, a purpose, and do I bring joy here? And before bringing a new item into the home, try to edit your cart. Ask yourself if you're buying to fill some void inside, or if the item truly solves a current problem. Cleaning doesn't just deal with the present, it trains the future. When the input is less, the output will be lighter. With young children, turn cleaning into a game. See who can find 20 unloved items the fastest. Name the bedroom cleanup crew. Or put on music and dance to keep the atmosphere fun. Give your children the power of choice. Who are their 3 best friend stuffed animals for today? And which faces will the temporary goodbye box hold until next month? Tell them stories about items being donated to another home, where they can bring new joy. Children understand the language of sharing very well. When children participate from the beginning, a tidy room isn't just an adult's accomplishment, but their own new sense of self-respect. They are old enough to take care of a small corner of the world. Regular cleaning doesn't mean you have to be perfect. There will be weeks you miss your schedule, nights when the donate giveaway box sits untouched, and days when the counter is full of papers again. But each time you return, you're training a very small muscle in your mind, the letting go muscle. Every item you give away creates a moment of stillness, like a temple courtyard after the rain. And in that stillness, you begin to hear your family's rhythm more clearly. The laughter echoing off the empty counter, the light footsteps in the tidied room, and the unburdened feeling in your heart, like a sleeve no longer caught on a doorknob. Japanese-style minimalism isn't strict, it's patient. It doesn't demand you have less stuff immediately. It invites you to live lighter every day, so your home can breathe and so your whole family can breathe with it. 3. Embrace the freedom to explore. It was a seemingly ordinary Saturday morning. The map of places to go was already on the fridge, the thermos was ready, and the clear blue sky was an open invitation. Yet, your family still left home nearly an hour late just because you were stuck looking for your child's missing sock, a misplaced charging cord, or the park pass that got mixed in with a pile of receipts. That moment might seem small, but it's the invisible anchor of our possessions holding you back and pulling an entire day out of a rhythm of freedom. We still think we need one more item for convenience, but the silent price is the time lost to searching, the energy worn down by organizing, and the money that drains away to replace things we've just lost. When the house becomes cramped with backup items we never use, the mind becomes constricted too. We're less willing to take a spontaneous trip, less likely to suddenly turn down a new street just because we smell freshly baked bread. If one day you suddenly give back time and money to experiences, everything will change in a gentle but profound way. Imagine the weekend is no longer a living room campsite amidst plastic bins and storage baskets, but a real campfire at the edge of the woods. Imagine the money you once poured into storage, plastic containers, or superfluous items suddenly transforming into 3 tickets to a live concert, a short trip along the coast, or a pottery class where the whole family gets covered in clay and laughs like children. When the surfaces are clear of clutter, your mind will have space for imperfect plans, putting on your shoes and just going, ducking into a small cafe if it rains, or turning off toward a stream if it's sunny. The Japanese minimalist philosophy doesn't see experiences as a reward for getting things done, but as a way of life. Prioritize what nourishes the soul first, and everything else will find its own order. Many families are drawn to van life, to the promise of a mobile home, waking up in a different place and the night sky as a ceiling. Not everyone can live fully in a van. Children have school and adults have work, but that spirit can infuse daily life like a light scent. Own less, experience more, be less tied down, be more in motion. You can start with 2-day, 1-night trips using a small SUV instead of a camper, or a folding bed set instead of a rarely used guest room. When the space in your home is given back to the things you truly need, the car trunk suddenly has room for a picnic set, 2 pairs of hiking boots, and a pair of binoculars, the very things that invite you out to explore life. With children, teach them to love windy days more than boxed toys. No need for a long lecture. Just after each trip, whisper, "This day will stay with you longer than any toy." And smile when you see them keep a park ticket stub like a treasure. Let birthdays shift from unboxing to unfolding paths. A museum membership card, a paddleboarding lesson, or a promise to go birdwatching early one morning. Give them the power to help with the planning, choosing the destination, looking at the map, preparing the snacks. When they are involved, the experience becomes their own. And its value isn't in a photo posted online, but in the feeling of, "I'm so grown up," when they tie their shoes just in time for departure. You can also talk about advertising as a kind of magic trick. It makes us feel like we're lacking when what we're really missing is an afternoon spent listening to each other's stories without watching the clock. The savings you get from cleaning up aren't just a number. They are a new rhythm of life. When you don't have to manage so many things, cleaning time is significantly reduced, hopeless searches become fewer, and impulsive purchases calm down. A week suddenly has 5 to 10 extra hours, enough for 2 long walks, a board game night, or a morning without an alarm clock to watch the sun stretch across the curtains. The money that once flowed into replacing lost items, storage fees, or accessories to complete the set will quietly accumulate into a family experience fund, a fall road trip, an indoor rock climbing class, or simply Sunday breakfasts out. When the house is tidy, the schedule is tidy, and the heart is tidy. It knows what it really wants, not a new shelf to hold things, but a new sky to breathe under. There will be days when you still hesitate, tempted by an item you might need, or confused about whether to keep or let it go. Remind yourself with a gentle but direct question: will this item take me somewhere or hold me back? If it opens up a new path, a new skill, or a shared memory, perhaps it's worth it. If it just adds one more thing to clean, one more spot for dust, one more minor argument, let it go like a cloud. Minimalism, at its deepest level, isn't about living with less. It's about going further with lighter luggage, a backpack that's just enough, a heart that's full, and footsteps that are always ready to turn down an unnamed road. 4. Regularly review your needs to keep your home just right. One evening, on a rainy day, you peel off an old calendar page and stick a new one on the fridge door. You use a pencil to mark a small box. Needs review, 15 minutes. This isn't a major deep clean, but a regular appointment with your own home. When you open the third drawer and it won't close anymore, when your child's closet still holds uniforms that are too small, even though the new school year has begun, or when the room that was once a nursery becomes a silent, empty space, These are all signs that the rhythm of your life has changed, but your belongings and their arrangement haven't. There's no need to panic. You just need to learn how to listen. The house is like a body. Where there's tension, there's a need for adjustment. A workspace that suddenly becomes a landing pad for miscellaneous junk, a coffee table you can no longer see the surface of, a shoe rack with a constant scattering of misplaced shoes. All of it is telling you that the old structure no longer fits the present. There are also more invisible signs, harder to notice but easy to get tired of. Dinners that are quiet because everyone is cranky about the mess. Weekends that everyone puts off because they don't know where to start cleaning. And a heavy feeling when you think about tidying the house more than you're excited about making plans to go out. As a child gets a year older, as an adult changes jobs and needs an online workspace, as a new hobby requires more storage space, every change of season in life requires the house to change with it. If we don't adapt, the house will change us. It will pull us into a cycle of cleaning, bickering, and procrastinating until our peace of mind is worn away without us even realizing it. Turn the review into a gentle ritual, like making tea. Every quarter, the family can sit together and each person answers a few simple questions. Which spot has brought the most joy recently? Which area is always a mess despite our efforts? Is there a new activity the house hasn't had a chance to make room for? Just 15 minutes of honesty, and you'll see the Rubik's Cube of life twist into place. Maybe the nursery will become a bright study corner, the bookshelf will be lowered so the children can reach it easily, and the desk will be turned to face the window to welcome the light. When the reasons are clear, the decisions become easy. What serves the present stays, what gets in the way goes, and what belongs to someone else is returned. Children don't learn from commands. They learn by being involved. Let them talk about their own space. Do you want your Lego corner by the window or in the play tent? Which collection do you want to display, and which ones should go into the rotation box? When they ask themselves, do I use and love this item? Does it have a place in our home? They are learning the language of choice. For shared items, you can use a maybe box. Things the whole family is unsure about are boxed up and dated for a review in 3 to 6 months. If no one remembers them, the decision becomes easier. Adults should lead by example by decluttering their own drawers, showing children that minimalism isn't a forced sacrifice, but a habit of gratitude. Thanking an item for serving you and letting it go with good wishes. Small conversations will keep you from losing your way. Every week, take 5 minutes during dinner to talk about one thing that's working well. For example, the return to place basket by the door that makes mornings less rushed. And one thing that needs adjusting. For instance, the coat hooks are too high, so jackets are always thrown on the chair. When the why is repeated to have less stress, more time together, and a home that's less visually and mentally noisy, the whole family will be on the same page, resisting the pull of advertising and the habit of accumulating. Then a question will arise that may be confusing. What's the difference between living frugally and meaningful minimalism? Frugality is about trying to pay less, often settling for a flimsy chair because it's cheap. Minimalism is about choosing less, but choosing right. A single high-quality chair that supports your back every day and letting go of 3 average ones that take up space. Frugality focuses on price. Minimalism focuses on value and what fits your life. Sometimes these paths cross, but don't let a low price deceive you. A cheap but superfluous item is still expensive because it steals your space, your attention, and your peace. When disagreements arise, and they will, return to the common principle that the family has agreed on. We only keep the things we use and love. Each person has full authority over their personal belongings within reasonable limits, so their self-respect is not hurt. With shared items, give each person a vote and the right to postpone the decision through the maybe box. What's important is not the speed of the cleanup, but the rhythm of the adjustments, small but consistent changes, and short but honest conversations. Tomorrow, you might move some books lower so your child's small hand can reach them. Next month, the bicycle might be replaced by an easel because your child has a new passion. Each adjustment is like a golden kintsugi thread, mending the cracks between needs and space, so the home continues to be beautiful in its most honest way. Finally, you return to the calendar on the cabinet door and add another mark for the next quarter. This isn't about control, it's about remembering that the home is also growing along with the family. When you listen to the small signals, a drawer that's hard to close, a minor argument, a budding passion, and respond with gentle adjustments, the house will always fit just right. Wide enough for laughter, quiet enough for breathing, and flexible enough to welcome the family's new seasons. If you were to gently close your eyes right now, you might hear a very faint sound, the sound of your home breathing with you. It's not loud or flashy, it's just the quiet rhythm of having enough. At its deepest level, minimalism isn't a competition to see who can throw away the most. It's a silent promise for peace. Every day, put one item back in its place, return 1 minute of quiet to your heart, and smile at the empty space as if greeting an old friend. We aren't running away from life. We're simply choosing to be more deliberately present, like setting a teacup on the table and waiting for the aroma to fill the air. Give yourself permission to start with the smallest things. A drawer that can close on its own, a tabletop that gets to rest, a habit of returning to tidiness. Gradually, you'll realize that amid hundreds of nameless tasks, a gentle voice whispers, "Slow down, this is enough." This sense of enoughness doesn't slam the door on the future. On the contrary, it opens up windy afternoons, conversations without needing to check the clock, and days at home that still feel like the world is vast. When your hands are less busy, your eyes are less tired, and your heart is less restless, you will see a humble beauty, shibumi, growing in every room like the golden thread of kintsugi mending invisible cracks. If these words resonate with you, please give a gentle nod. A like as a sign of agreement, a subscribe as a promise to meet again next week, and a comment to tell us about the little corner you want to calm down tonight. We will continue this journey together without rushing, taking short but profound steps so that both our homes and our hearts can find a state of peace.